last week of these twin qualities of presence and solidarity. This is something I've been really sitting with myself and reflecting on, that presence and ability to be with our experience as it arrives in the moment is enormously strengthening. And to the extent that we can do that with an open heart, then we're building courage and we're building bravery and resilience. So this idea that it's a very brave act to meditate, and that we are warriors of the heart and warriors of the mind to meditate in the first place. I've been really reflecting on that sometimes meditation can be portrayed as escapist, a bit soft, but I think it's the least escapist thing you can do, because we have the courage to turn towards our lives in their fullness and their wholeness, and to rest there in the present. So I'm increasingly seeing it as a kind of training in bravery, a training in courage. And we really need that at the moment in order to have the self-belief, the confidence that we will meet whatever arrives in our lap in the future moments. If there's one thing we've learned from the pandemic, is we just don't know what's going to happen. And that was always thus. But I think before the pandemic, we could live in a kind of bubble of fantasy that we could plan our lives and that things would turn out the way we wanted them to be. And sometimes they did actually turn out like that. But, increasingly I'm seeing the pandemic as a kind of insight practice, a wisdom practice, because we are being faced with life as it truly is, which is uncertain, changing. We never know what's around the corner. And the more we can meet that with presence and a non-reactive mind, then we are indeed brave and courageous, and we are warriors. And then solidarity is the other great quality. And that's realizing that we're not alone. We're in this together with the 7 billion other human beings on the planet. We're sharing this journey with all these other people who are deep down really like us. If we look out at the screen, we've got all these little grids and all these little faces, and we can default to a perspective of other, that all of you out there, you're really, really different to me. That can be our default setting, and we can feel alone and isolated. But another default setting we can cultivate is that we're all really, really alike, that none of us likes to suffer, and we all want to be happy, and we all long for certainty, and then life delivers uncertainty, and then we have our various common reactions to that, of fear and isolation and despair, all those kind of things. But I think the drive is deep down to try and avoid suffering and to be happy. That is what unites us as human beings, and we have our different strategies for that, some of which are more effective than others. But if you really examine your motivations behind most of your actions, I think you'll find out that it is an attempt to avoid suffering and to be happy. So we're shifting from isolation and difference to solidarity and commonality. And again, that can be enormously helpful during times like this, both because some of us are actually physically isolated, so imaginatively connecting can be really important. And also because we actually are really in this together. We really are in this sort of existential situation of being alive in this together, and we're in this pandemic together. We do have a shared collective challenge that we're all doing our best to rise to. So presence, courage, and solidarity are the great qualities that we'll be looking at tonight, as we did last week. And also just to send solidarity to those of you from the US who are here with us today, the times that you're living through. Yeah, I mean, we've got the pandemic, that's uncertain enough, whereas in the States, you've got all the political upheaval that you've been going through, well, for years, but particularly the last couple of weeks. And then you've got the inauguration, which I believe is tomorrow. So yeah, just sending lots of solidarity across the pond to those of you in the States as well. Okay, so before we begin, I'm just going to say a little bit about meditation posture, because I realize I haven't talked about that perhaps ever on these evenings. I just say adopt a posture, but I haven't really given you much guidance on what to consider. So I always say that the two main criteria are to be as relaxed as possible and yet alert, but that's not very specific, is it? So if you're sitting in a chair, I'm going to show you how I sit in the chair, and this might give you some tips. So I'll just turn my camera down and I'll move back. No, I can't see because I've got the wrong glasses on, never mind. So I'm sitting on a straight back chair, and that means that my spine can be upright. And what you look for is the angle of the pelvis. That's the most important thing. And if you're tipping your pelvis forward, you'll overarch your back and you'll get pain. And if you slouch, then your back will round and you'll get pain. So you want most of your weight to be going down through the sitting bones, which are these bony tips in your buttocks. And if you get your pelvis what's called a neutral, where it's not rolling forwards or backwards, then your spine can follow its natural curves. Yeah, so it goes in the lower back, and then it goes out a wee bit in the middle, in the upper back, and then up to your head. And then you just have your head poised on top of the spine. So you can imagine that you've got a golden thread from the top of the head. And if I pull, what happens is there's a natural release through here, and my chin's just a little bit tucked in. And if I then, obviously I don't want to sit holding onto my hair like that, but I can feel the kind of echo of that, and it feels quite aligned. Because quite often we do weird things with our head when we meditate. You know, we might do this, we might do that. So we're looking for alignment, yeah? And then what I do is I wrap a blanket around myself. And you can do it sort of sarong style. You wrap it round and you roll it over at the waist. And then you can just tuck your hands in. Yeah. And that's really good, because then what can happen is your shoulders can relax because the hands are supported. So you could try that if you want to. If you get yourselves like a dining room chair, something like that, that can be good. Now, some of us might prefer to lie down. If you've got a lot of pain, then lying down is definitely an option. Or if you're really tired, lying down's an option. And again, you're looking for the support of the head to be such that your head's not really tipped forward and it's not tipping back. So the pillow or the cushion, just the right height. So that if you're lying down, your chin's just a little bit lower than your forehead. And you might want to have your knees bent a little bit, because that can take the strain off the lower back. And I always like to put cushions under my knees. And sometimes when I'm lying down, I put my legs up over a chair. And that means the lower back can really release. So that can be nice as well. You can do the meditation standing if you would like to. And again, if you're standing, you're just looking for alignment. Or you can do it walking. Walking can be nice. You could just listen to me and be walking quietly up and down your room. If you're feeling very stressed and agitated and it's hard to sit still, then sometimes walking can be a good thing to do. Okay, so it's this very interesting sort of sweet spot of relaxation and yet alert, which is a very, very interesting thing to investigate in your experience, because we can be too kind of forceful and willful and sort of over-focused and strained in our meditation. So there's a lot of alertness, but no relaxation. Or we can be almost going to sleep, which means we've got a lot of relaxation, but not very much alertness. So I was looking for that kind of sweet spot of ease, rest, and still vitality. Okay. So let's begin. Settling into whatever position you've chosen. And if you get very uncomfortable during the practice, sorry, I'm just getting, let me get myself comfy first and then I'll keep talking. Okay, good. Now I'm settled. If you get very uncomfortable, then you can make a little micro adjustment if you want to. Sometimes just moving the head a little bit or the back a little bit can release tension. That's absolutely fine. Or you might want to change your posture. That's also completely fine. And again, it's very interesting to know, am I wanting to move because I've got a fidgety mind, in which case settling is what you need? Or am I wanting to move because actually I'm in agony and I've got a really bad knee and it's going to be not good to sit still for another 15 minutes, in which case moving is a good thing to do. So again, it's interesting. You know, if you're feeling just fidgety and antsy, then not moving might be good. And if you've got loads of physical pain, then moving might be good. So it's all about learning how to make these decisions for ourselves in the practice. So just introducing those sort of refinements this week. Okay, so we'll begin the practice. And I've got a poem because I'm very interested in courage at the moment. It's a poem about courage. So maybe I'll read that first and then we'll move into the practice. It's by John O'Donoghue, wonderful, wonderful poet. And it's called For Courage. When the light around you lessens and your thoughts darken until your body feels fear turn cold as a stone inside. When you find yourself bereft of any belief in yourself and all you unknowingly leaned on has fallen. When one voice commands your whole heart and it is raven dark, steady yourself and see that it is your own thinking that darkens your world. Search and you will find a diamond thought of light. Know that you are not alone and that this darkness has purpose. Gradually it will school your eyes to find the one gift your life requires hidden within this night corner. Invoke the learning of every suffering you have suffered. Close your eyes. Gather all the kindling about your heart to create one spark. That is all you need to nourish the flame that will cleanse the dark of its weight of festered fear. A new confidence will come alive to urge you towards higher ground, where your imagination will learn to engage difficulty as its most rewarding threshold. So let's drop our awareness deep in the body. Feeling the contact with the surface we're resting upon, whether we're sitting, lying, standing, or walking. And let's surrender our weight. Let's yield our weight and allow ourselves to be held and supported. Perhaps letting go a little bit more with each out breath. And allowing our breathing to settle and to find its own natural rhythm. Expansion phase in the body on the in-breath. Releasing, subsiding phase in the body with each out breath. And let's see if this breathing can occupy this sweet spot between relaxation and vitality. Maybe having a sense of vitalizing the body, the heart, and the mind on the in-breath. Relaxing, releasing the body, heart, and mind on the out-breath. Cultivating this resource of presence. Excuse me. So very gradually and very gently, we're arriving more and more deeply in our moment by moment experience, just as it is, with courage, with openness, with receptivity, with honesty. And if our experience feels challenging in any way, allowing our awareness to be kindly, seeing if we can greet our own experience the way we would respond to a loved one having this experience, with tenderness, openness, kindness. Giving courage, giving strength to ourselves moment by moment with each in-breath, with each out-breath. If we've got pain anywhere in the body, just checking, are we pushing it out of our awareness? Are we hardening against it, resisting it? If we notice that, then again, being understanding, this is completely a natural thing to do. None of us likes pain, of course. But let's see if we can soften that resistance and if we can include the pain in our field of awareness, gently, tenderly, letting it be part of our field of awareness, along with all the other dimensions, our thoughts, our emotions, our sensations, our breathing. And his pain joining in as part of that rich tapestry each moment. So resting our awareness in the whole body, in the legs, in the torso, in the arms, neck, head, face. With breathing as our anchor. Vitalizing on the in-breath, releasing, relaxing on the out-breath. All the time letting gravity be our friend. So we're really yielding the weight up to the chair or the floor or the bed, moment by moment. Maintaining this sense of presence, feeling our bravery, our courage to be here, sitting with ourselves. Let's now open our field of awareness so we stay centered and grounded, but imagine the circumference of awareness expanding and including all of us here together. There's 100 of us from many different countries. We've all got unique circumstances, and yet, deep down, we're all so very, very alike. None of us likes to suffer, and we all want to be happy, fulfilled, at peace. We're all breathing in and out. Every day will hold ups and downs for all of us. And if you would like to, if it would work for you, you could imagine that you're in a big room or in a garden or a big open field on a summer's day. And all these people, all 100 of us, we climb out of our little box on the screen and we become three-dimensional human beings, all together, socially distanced, of course. So we're not alone. Feeling into the solidarity of the shared human experience. To the extent that we know ourselves deeply, to that extent we know humanity. So out of presence, out of self-awareness comes solidarity, connection, awareness of what it means to be human. So if it works for you, on the in-breath, you could breathe in awareness of one another, and then on the out-breath, breathing out love and kindliness and well-wishing towards one another. And careful not to force or strain in any way. We're still looking for the sweet spot between relaxation and alertness. And we're inviting all of us into that field of these qualities. We're resting together in the shared human space. In our imagination now, we can invite all the other humans into this space in whatever way works for you. Obviously, it's going to be a big, boundless space. Just this heart connection with the human journey at this time. this time in our collective history. Billions of people learning to live with uncertainty. Many struggling with that fact, perhaps some being liberated by that fact. And then there's all the other creatures, the birds and the animals and the insects and the fish, all participating in this flow of life, moment by moment. Seeing if we can rest in that sense of deep connection with all of life. As we sit here, as we lie here, as we stand or walk. And now bringing the weight of the body to the foreground of awareness. Stability of the body, contact with the chair or the floor, the bed. Allowing the whole body to be held and supported, yielding, releasing, resting. Allowing the felt sense of connection to remain, but letting it fade a little into the background and bringing self-awareness to the foreground so we're grounded and stable, present. And just resting with this appreciation of the twin qualities of presence and courage and solidarity and connection. Breathing in and out, resting, settling. When we're ready, we can bring the practice to a close, beginning to move the body a little bit. I always find it so interesting to just do some little movements and kind of noticing the way my mind and my breath wants to grip around the movement and to intentionally soften that. So we've got some movement, and yet we have softness, breathing, still yielding up to the chair, trusting gravity, befriending gravity. Coming to bigger movements if we want to, and opening the eyes. Yeah, just feeling the effect of the practice. Noticing, you spent 25 minutes or so turning towards what it means to be alive for you and for everyone, as opposed to distracting yourself with your favorite distraction. And what's the consequence of that choice? And if anyone wants to write anything in the chat, you could do so. I'll read out some of the comments because people who are with us who are visually impaired, and it's so important that they can participate in the chat. Thank you. That was wonderful. My sweet spot. Good, good. So the poem really spoke to me. Would you remind us of the title, please? It's in the community of practice on the poetry topic, and it's called For Courage by John O'Donoghue. And Ollie posted it very kindly a few weeks ago. Ollie, who finds most wonderful poems. So thank you. Lovely being part of a family again. Fantastic. It's so good. We're all connected in this together, feeling so much love. Thank you. Feeling great connection and solidarity with you all. Such a relief. Thank you. It was lovely. Feeling very calm now. Thank you, Vidyamala. Love the poem, and the courage focus is perfect for now. Be blessed all. Oh, this is nice. Imagined us all on a picnic, meeting each other on a summer's day, walking through the grass. Beautiful. Thank you. Hugely helpful to think of learning about myself as connecting with humanity. I felt held and connected. Being in the field was wonderful. Lovely to sit with everyone. Visualized us all sitting in a circle at Taraloka. Taraloka is a retreat center that we used to use. Hopefully we'll use it again sometime when we're allowed to. Thank you. It was lovely being with you in a large field in the sunshine. Courage and acceptance. Thank you. Thank you. Lovely visual of you all in a beautiful meadow in June. So many smiles. So another thing that we're feeling into here is the power of the imagination. You know, it's a tremendous gift that we have as humans, that we can imagine. And hopefully what you experience there is when you turned your mind to imagine connection, that actually we feel different. So our imagination directly affects our subjective experience. Very, very interesting. Good. So thank you all very, very much. And we'll be here next week. So I won't actually be here next week, but Sona's going to lead the session next week, which is a real treat. Sona's one of the co-founders of Breathworks, and he's been meditating for 50 years or something. Very, very long time. He's not actually all that old. It's just that he started young. In case you're thinking you're going to meditate with someone who's 100 next week. That is not the case. But he's, you know, he spent his whole adult life investigating his mind. Wonderful meditation teacher. So he'll be here because I'm going to be leading an online retreat for another group next week. And actually my retreat's going to be on, it's called Compassionate Warrior Training. So it's a very similar theme of presence and solidarity. So just a few more comments. Someone saying, lovely being on the beach with everyone, waves lapping over our toes. It's fantastic. Good, good. Okay, so as usual, if you want to, you could unmute yourselves to say hello and goodbye. And please come back next week if you'd like to. And we're going to just keep these going as long as we can, because it's such a lovely thing to do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
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 Thank you. Stay safe and sound, everyone.
Yes.
Thank you. Thanks for the connections. Goodbye.
May you be well, may you be happy.
From Francesca.
What do I do with this?
I love this bit. It's so nice.
May we be at ease.
May we be at ease, indeed. Oh, look, there's Sona. He's there. Hello, Sona. See, look, he doesn't look 100.